Hello everyone, welcome back to Eden's Garden, where we stare at each other in complete silence. Anyway, it's trial time.
The only person we should be blaming is Wolfgang himself.
So
What
true.
the heck? Why are you blaming him?
If you don't remember, we left off discussing how Wolfgang told Grace he was sick, but he wasn't sick. Anyway, like, subscribe, become a member to see these a week early. I'm supposed to say that at the beginning of the video, and I keep forgetting, so there we go.
Simple. Because he lied about being sick.
Seriously?
You can cooperate. Can't you, Toshiko?
Cooperate? Did he say cooperate? Anyway.
During the investigation, you told me you saw Wolfgang in the hallways at 8:10 a.m.
That's after I left.
Yes. I remember now. Ingrid. She developed a headache, so I went to the pharmacy to find some medication. The trip itself went fine, but when I returned to the hallway, I found myself face to face
With Wolfgang? Hold the phone! Toshiko actually saw Wolfgang?
We had a normal, pleasant exchange. He appeared perfectly healthy and even mentioned going to the tournament. Of course, he never made it.
I don't want to be that guy, but can anyone confirm this?
Mm-hmm. I heard them chatting a while in my room.
I'm so confused by Ingrid right now. She's like the backup to every point. Makes me very concerned. Like, how does she know all this? Like, I guess her room might be in the hallway, but like, again, I said this last time, but it was a while ago for me. Anyway, I'm recentering myself in this conversation. How did she see the entire group of people move to the boiler room in the dark? Like, she saw them leave the hall, is what she says. But like, we couldn't see anything. It was literally pitch black. That's why we were all holding hands, right? And like feeling along the walls. I'm so confused.
Though I was bedridden like a sitting ghost, I could still make out their voices here and there.
Strange. He told Grace he wouldn't attend the tournament, but then said the opposite to Toshiko.
Sounds like he was telling fibs to conceal his
Fibs.
actual intentions.
And what's his true plan supposed to be?
To go to the boiler room. Most likely.
I'm lost. What business would a guy like him have down there?
He really likes hot water, alright? Why did Wolfgang go to the boiler room? That I can also answer. Okay, it's the note. Suspicious note, right?
This is it.
During the investigation, I found this note tucked away inside Wolfgang's blazer pocket. A lot of it is water damaged. The paper looks like it was ripped from a notebook, and the handwriting was done in ink, but some parts are still legible.
You know, I didn't even realize it was ripped from a notebook. Ulysses is suspicious suddenly? Secret, 8:15 a.m., boiler room, close the door.
This mentions the boiler room.
Exactly. The fact we found Wolfgang in the boiler room
He's looking at it.
and this note in his pocket, it can't be a coincidence. This note must be the reason Wolfgang went there.
That mention of a secret sure is suspicious. I'm willing to bet Wolfie's reason had something to do with it.
Agreeing to meet a stranger in some spooky dark place? Wolfgang had nerves of steel.
Ulysses, Grace, do you remember Wolfgang getting delivered a weird note?
No. The only time I recall him receiving anything was when Tozu distributed those envelopes.
I don't know anything about a note. Really? Wolfgang shared nothing with you guys?
Yeah.
Guess he didn't want them to know what it said.
Right. And if Wolfgang wanted to keep this note a secret, he would obviously want to keep the meeting a secret too.
Then the reason he told Grace he felt sick...
Was to remove her from the picture. Yeah, once she's not in the room, Wolfgang has his opportunity to sneak out and head downstairs. That's also why he encouraged her to attend the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't this same guy ask us to share our blackmail with each other? Talk about double standards.
Are we sure he wasn't just trying to protect Grace? Maybe he knew he was meeting someone dangerous, so he thought it would be safer not to involve her.
That does sound like something Wolfgang would do.
Not to interrupt, but on the subject of blackmail, did Wolfgang ever confront the person he had?
Good question.
Oh? You don't know whose blackmail he got?
Well, if you recall what Wolfgang said originally.
How would you know? Like, why would you even assume people know? For that reason, I implore you to speak with the person whose blackmail you have, and them only. If the contents of the envelope seem horrible, give the person a chance to explain themselves.
Regardless of the blackmail's contents, it would be treated as a matter between the recipient and the subject of the blackmail, and no one else. Which makes me wonder, could whether or not Wolfgang confronted his person clue us into what had originally been written on that note?
I'm not picking up what you're putting down.
If that person somehow realized Wolfgang carried their blackmail, but never came forward about it, they could have demanded Wolfgang show it to them, hence the mention of a secret. However, if Wolfgang did confront his person, I don't see why that same person would then send him a threatening note. Not least act coy about information they both know.
If the person being blackmailed wasn't the one who wrote the note, who was?
Obviously, it would be the student with Wolfgang's blackmail.
Wah wah.
Oh, I knew that.
Yes, the secret in question may actually be a reference to Wolfgang's blackmail, not the sender's.
Is there any way to figure out whose secret it is?
We'd probably need to know whose blackmail Wolfgang had first.
Oh, I've got just the idea.
Let's share them all.
Yo, person who Wolfgang had blackmail on. If he gave you your blackmail back, can you say something?
Don't forget the person with Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh, right. Hey, person who's got Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh, I didn't hear it until now.
If you're innocent, say something already.
David's not gonna say anything. If I'm innocent, I should say something? Will telling everyone I have Wolfgang's blackmail really guarantee my innocence in their eyes? I don't know. Although everyone may follow my direction during the trial, since they can't ignore the evidence on my side. When it comes to me, of all people, owning Wolfgang's blackmail, how do I know they won't suddenly change their tune? They might chastise me for not revealing his blackmail sooner, or maybe they'll think I'm confessing and accuse me of murdering him. It's not like I wouldn't be able to refute their arguments, but do I really want to subject myself to all of that? Does the trajectory of this trial really depend on whether or not I
was hesitant to admit it, since I knew it would put me on the spot. But I'd rather be suspected than be the reason this trial comes to a standstill.
Huh? Are you confessing? Do you have Wolfgang's blackmail?
Nah, not his.
Seriously? Way to be anticlimactic.
However, it's thanks to him that I have my own.
Your own?
Wolfgang approached me the same day everyone received an envelope. Funnily enough, it happened right after I'd finished speaking with my own person. He and we had a good talk. He gave me his envelope and asked me to take care of it. If you need the proof.
Ah, Wolfgang's envelope had the same signature.
Aye. I held on to the letter for safekeeping. This should have all been said sooner. I realize that. I suppose my pride was stronger than my rectitude. My mistake for stringing everyone along.
I mean, at least you're honest.
Hopefully.
True. Thanks for letting us know, bud.
Indeed. To acknowledge one's own misdoings is a most virtuous feat, I believe.
Right. It's very noble.
Well, great. Now I'm under peer pressure. If I revealed my blackmail right now, would everyone here treat me the same? Would they be just as forgiving?
I take it our other blackmail person isn't gonna step forward?
If nothing happens, let's just have everyone recite whose blackmail they got one by one.
Huh? You sure that's a good idea?
No one's reciting shit.
It was only a suggestion. Calm your farm.
Even if we knew who had Wolfgang's blackmail, that doesn't necessarily mean they're his killer. It's annoying they won't speak up, sure, but unlike John, They would actually need to reveal Wolfgang's blackmail to prove they have it. This person might just want to respect Wolfgang's request to keep the blackmail between two people. Especially now that he's gone.
I don't know. Is it really okay if we never find out?
Circumstantial evidence alone can't prove something beyond a reasonable doubt. If we want to solve this case, we need indisputable evidence.
Yeah. It's like doing a jigsaw puzzle without the box art to help you.
The cases?
Obviously, the case. The more pieces you connect, the clearer the image you're constructing becomes. The clearer the image, the more you can assume about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Once we know how Wolfgang died, the rest of this case should fall into place.
You certainly talk a lot stranger than you used to. But I think I get it.
Well, I don't want to be the one to start, but we can all agree Wolfgang was stabbed to death, right?
Just because there was a knife? Stabbed to death?
When I was in the boiler room, I saw a knife bobbing around in the water near him. And on the ground, there was blood. Dried blood. On the boiler room floor and on the hallway floor.
That's gotta be Wolfgang's blood, right?
The knife was bloody, so...
Huh. Seems like a brawl happened in the hallway. While poor Wolfie was minding his own business, he was confronted by the killer, who attacked him and chased him into the boiler room.
That would line up with how we found him.
The killer stabbed Wolfgang in the hallway, then followed him into the boiler room. No, that's not what happened. I need to show everyone where they've gone wrong. Oh, here we go again. Right click. Remember, it's right click. Alright.
Is this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him.
Whoa.
Not just that.
Whoops, I
There's
forgot it's
blood
F1.
on the boiler room floor.
Let me just figure out which one it actually is. So it's obviously not this one. I doubt it's this, even though this does technically point to the cause of death. Storage closets. I don't think it'd be this, which only leaves this, right? I don't know, actually. Okay, well, we'll find out, I guess.
And along the underground hallway.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Nah, it was probably a sneak attack. The killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from behind, and the rest
Oh,
is history.
I see.
With that knife-wielding villain on his tail.
He was in the water
Wolfgang
facing the
had no other
the
place
wall.
to run but the boiler room.
So...
Oh, maybe it's the storage
the killer
closets. It could
entered
actually
the
be
boiler
either of
room
those.
After him, which was when they, you know,
You
ended
know.
It all makes sense.
Okay, so it's one of two things. Whatever story they're trying to spin here, it's definitely not the truth. I can conclude as much from the crime scene. Okay, so it's the crime scene. It's the
Is this
Toes
really
tablet
how you
number 2.
guys think Wolfgang died?
The bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him. Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor.
And along the underground hallway.
A confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
Not this.
Nah,
Oh yeah,
it was probably
he
a
got
sneak
stabbed by
attack.
behind. That's what
The
I'm.
killer snuck up on Wolfgang, stabbed him from behind,
I missed.
and
God damn it! I don't remember how to focus. Let me
Had
just
no other
try
place
some
to run but the
buttons.
boiler room.
So, the killer
Oh.
entered the boiler room after him.
What is this? What does
which
this help
was
you
when
with?
They
It shows you the
you know,
image, I guess.
ended
Okay.
it.
E.
It all makes sense.
I have no idea what that's doing. It's just making a sound
Is
effect.
this really how you guys think Wolfgang died?
the bloody knife is way too big of a coincidence. It was floating in the water right next to him.
Not just that. There's blood on the boiler room floor.
Oh, wait. 1 also opens the menu, not just F1.
And
Cool.
along the underground hallway.
Tab?
A
No.
confrontation must have happened in those hallways.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah, it was probably a sneak attack.
but I can
Killer
make a little
snuck up
funny
on
sound
Wolfgang,
whenever I want to.
Stabbed him from behind.
No, that's wrong.
Alright. break.
Jed, you talk a lot about the knife and the bloodstains on the floor, but did you ever look at Wolfgang himself?
I gave him a glance. Nothing too deep.
I figured. Had you actually taken the time to look at Wolfgang's back, you would have noticed a clear absence of stab wounds. In fact, none of the injuries he sustained were the type to cause severe blood loss.
Okay, I mean, yeah. The Tozu thing doesn't actually say that. He wasn't stabbed, but whatever.
Seriously. We went over the same thing with Cassidy during the mock trial. Couldn't you give Wolfgang the dignity of a proper investigation?
Hey, man! It's not like I didn't try! It's just... this stuff doesn't come easy, you know? Nobody wakes up thinking they'll have to solve their buddy's murder later.
Isn't that exactly what you should be worrying about in a killing game?
Not everyone has the stomach for investigating. That's fine. That's why you got people like me to do the heavy lifting. Since some of us here weren't able to investigate Wolfgang's body, I'll lay out his injuries. There were 2 marks on the back of his neck, a bruise, and a tiny red dot. His hands were burnt too, so 3 injuries in total. Besides that, I caught nothing else.
Burns, you say?
Junior high, my dear Wilson. The killer used a flamethrower.
Junior high? My goodness.
These didn't look like normal burns. Not the sort you'd get from a stove fire, or a hot iron, or a flamethrower, I suppose.
Contradicting my theory outright? Jeez. So this is the thanks I get for vocalizing my thoughts?
Yes, shut up.
Sorry, lass.
Yes, if I may add on to what John said, the burns actually bore a strong resemblance to what you might see in cases of corona paralysis.
Chiaro... Huh?
Ooh, now this I know.
What? Okay.
Coronoparalysis. It's something which happens to lightning strike victims.
How does she know that?
Getting struck by lightning is like getting kicked by a horse. The impact is so shocking. Some people will lose all feeling in their limbs for a few hours.
I was aware of lightning paralysis, but even I didn't know its official name. That's a nice head you've got on your shoulders.
Like, I understand Ulysses knowing it, for sure. Seems how that's kind of his whole thing. But where would Ingrid have picked up this information?
Overlook the importance of lightning safety.
Okay.
Especially where I'm from.
I guess.
My grandpappy once tried working out in the open during a thunderstorm. Pure luck's the only reason he lived to see the next day.
Sorry to hear that and all, but what does lightning have to do with anything?
Well, if I had to guess, Ulysses, did it look like a big old tree was drawn on Wolfie?
A big old tree. Yes, that's how I would describe the burns on Wolfgang.
So Wolfgang had lightning strike scars?
Huh? We're trapped inside a building, though. Lightning can't come from anywhere.
Could he not have been struck before the killing game? Fate is stronger than will, you know. Perhaps a deity decreed the glow of his altruism from their heavenly abode and felt him a threat.
Nay, those burns were fresh. One look was all it took for me to know that.
There's only one explanation. Somebody here is a wizard.
If he had these scars before, we would have noticed them anyway.
But if those marks were recently inflicted, wouldn't it mean Wolfgang
goodness.
somehow went outside?
Not necessarily. This is only something I thought of just now, but the reason Wolfgang sustained burns similar to that of lightning strike victims may be because whatever inflicted his burns was equivalent in damage to a lightning strike.
You saying there's something out here channeling the power of lightning?
Yes. That just sounded so ridiculous. I didn't even read the first half. But when I think back on the boiler room and what was inside of it, right, if I take that object into consideration, Ulysses' theory starts to hold some weight. Ah.
This is it.
This is it.
Ulysses, since you write everything down, do you have a description of the boiler room in your notebook?
Yes, I do. Why?
Since some people here never investigated the crime scene, they probably aren't as familiar with the room as we are.
No, there's no way that'll be it, right? Right, because my running theory is that, like, 3 different people tried to kill Wolfgang. Or not, like, kill him, but they at least attacked him, and then he eventually got killed. So I was thinking, how does the room swap tie into this? Is it just so that we can have drama with Grace? Seems a little weird. But if this was a notebook page, then at some point, I bet you the blame's going to get pointed at Ulysses. And whoever was Ulysses' roommate, which I believe is Winona now, right? Because they switched. And then she's gonna, like, be the one who clocked him on the back of the head or something, but not the one who killed him. That's my guess.
So, you should read out your description of it.
Sure. The boiler room consists of a small concrete platform surrounded by ankle-deep water. Throughout the room are boxes filled with various garbage, and in the back looks to be a generator, charred beyond belief. What you just heard is a brief summary of my notes.
Hear that? There's a generator inside the boiler room. Of all the things which could deal similar damage to a lightning strike, doesn't a generator sound the most likely?
Didn't Ulysses say it was destroyed?
At the time of the investigation, sure. But it wasn't always destroyed. You probably don't remember. But back when we found the dummy, I mentioned something about the underground floor.
Dining hall people, you were in this building before. Tell us what's going on. Yeah, why didn't you mention this other girl? The hell? I never even saw her. Huh? You were there too, Bargain Bin? Don't even. There's a floor below us. That's where I woke up.
To be more specific, it was the boiler room I woke up inside. I hadn't been alone either. Ava was also there.
Ava?
I woke up first.
Yeah. She did. Anyway, Ava, you agree the generator was in full working condition when we woke up, right?
Has it been Ava the whole time? And I just forgot?
Right.
So in the time since you woke up there, the generator was destroyed?
It's the only possibility. As for what destroyed the generator, well, it's hard to say for sure. My best guess would probably be...
Don't waste my time.
Argument armament.
2 things. First, destroyed is overly vague. Ulysses explained the state of the generator much better. Charred beyond belief. Second, and more importantly,
where's your proof the generator inflicted those burns?
What are you talking about? The generator must be involved. It's near where Wolfgang is lying.
being within range of something counts as proof now, does it? Do you also consider happenstance as conclusive evidence? Funny how the standards shift, if so.
That?
Damn it. She's trying to make me look like an idiot. And after I gave her a stuffed bear, too. If I let this continue, the others might start to doubt me. I need to stop her before she veers the trial off track. Oh my goodness, okay. Here we go. Space is focus. Okay, well now I know. I thought you're the only one with an interjection animation. Think again. Sometimes a student will dislike your arguments so much they'll initiate a one-on-one debate with you. We call this Rebuttal Showdown. That's right, Argument Armament is the final one. And only in V3. During Rebuttal Showdown, your opponent will fling a flurry of remarks at you, and it's your job to counter them. Use Wasaw to slice through the opponent's argument. Naturally, you'll slash in the direction of the button pressed. To slice diagonally, press 2 keys at the same time. Be sure to pay close attention to the shape, size, and position of your opponent's remarks, as these will clue you into what direction you should slice. Every time you strike white text, the green side of the screen will shift left to represent your argument succeeding. Likewise, every time you miss white text, the orange side of the screen will shift right to show your opponent is winning. If you cut through enough remarks, you will advance to the next stage. If you haven't, you'll retreat. If you're somewhere in the middle, you and your opponent will wrestle for control in a short round of cross swords. In order to gain the upper hand, you must rapidly left quick. Now to the meat of the duel. the meat on the bone. Truth blades. Similar to non-stop debates, any suspected contradictions will be highlighted in gold. Hold down right-click to slice them apart with a truth blade. You have to hold it? Of course, don't start slicing the second you see gold. Assess the blade. Assess the validity of the remark, and check you have the correct truth blade equipped. Now, let's not keep Monona waiting any longer. To battle. Down. Cool. The blackout.
While the generator may look suspicious, consider the time frame we're working with. If the only time you saw the generator in full working condition was on the day of our kidnapping, that gives us a period of almost 4 days, in which the generator might have been destroyed.
Duel! Wow, that was very easy. It'll probably get harder than that.
What about the blackout? It's impossible for the generator to cause the blackout if it was already broken prior to the tournament.
What about the blackout? The building may very well have lost its power at any point before or after the murder. You only assume it happened during. Not the smartest argument from a supposed ultimate debater.
No, the blackout is definitely connected to Wolfgang's death. There's a certain piece of evidence which proves the two events are correlated.
What about the blackout?
I mean, they're more than correlated.
The building may very well have lost
Well, I
its
guess,
power
you know,
at any
we don't know
point
that yet.
Before or after the...
I'll cut through those words!
When the blackout happened, it froze a piece of equipment which had been set up for the game tournament, Mark's DJ pad.
Oh man, not to
While there
talk.
was no physical clock inside the dining hall, a digital one has been built into Mark's pad. If you look at what time the digital clock is frozen on, it matches the time of death listed on the tablet, 9:35 a.m.
Well, Mark, is this true?
There's no point in me saying anything when someone else has already said it better.
Just say yes!
Just answer with a yes or no, will you?
Yes.
In any case, the matching times are too much of a coincidence. The destruction of the generator caused the blackout, and the blackout occurred at the time of the murder. There's no way the destruction of the generator wasn't tied to Wolfgang's death.
I just realized we were arguing with each other doing this whole, like, rebuttal showdown thing, and we're stood right beside each other. We're just, like, looking at each other and talking, and everybody else is just awkwardly staring.
What do you suppose happened then?
It's not like it's across the table, right, you know?
I'm willing to bet the generator's destruction resulted in the boiler room's water becoming electrified. Since Wolfgang was discovered kneeling in the water, we can reason he was standing in it at the time this happened and...
Damon, you and I both know that's not true.
Huh?
Did you forget? It's impossible for the water in the boiler room to play a role in Wolfgang's murder, because it isn't even conductive.
It's not?
After Damon and I woke up in the boiler room, I wanted to investigate the flooded area. So, I tested the water.
I mean, does that mean it's not conductive ever? I guess the generator came back on, so... yeah. Anyway, out of the corner of my eye, I saw Eva approach the pile of boxes and fish out a light bulb. Then, without hesitation, she chucked it into the water.
I even redid my test during the investigation, since Damon wasn't sure if he should touch Wolfgang's wet clothes. In both instances, I proved the water was safe to enter. To be honest, neither result really surprised me. Water will only act as a conductor if it makes contact with two separate energy sources. The boiler room's generator is just one source.
If you're standing in the water, one outlet should be enough. Speaking from experience, large bodies of water are terrifying conductors during storms. All it takes is one lightning bolt, and the surrounding miles are scorched.
But the generator is a slow, persistent source of electricity. It's not the same as a lightning strike.
Well, unless it explodes.
Electricity is electricity. Doesn't matter how it manifests. The reason you two avoided electrocution is because the generator's exposed wires aren't even touching the water. If they were, you would have been scorched right from the start.
Maybe when the generator was destroyed, some of the wiring fell into the water?
Nah. Even in its current sorry state, the generator's wires are nowhere near the water.
It doesn't make sense for the generator to pose a danger anyway. The point of the killing game is for the students to kill each other, not for the facility to kill the students. A feature of the building killing a student would be a meaningless death because you can't attribute a student killer to it.
As for why the generator's been charred, sometimes electrical faults happen. Even my ship's engines have broken under particularly relentless storms. And if an electrical fault caused Wolfgang's death, then his murder is purely on the hosts, ain't it?
Of course! If we were responsible for his death, you lot wouldn't be here discussing it.
That's... Is the generator really unrelated to the case? But the timing of the blackout, it's too perfect. It can't be a coincidence.
Okay, since we've ruled out the generator, what else could have electrocuted Wolfgang?
It mightn't be relevant, but
Mightn't?
I did
Wow.
see one other thing on the boiler room floor.
I've never seen that used before.
A toy gun or something. At least, that's how it came across to me.
Not a toy gun, a taser gun.
A taser? I'll shoot electricity!
I'm not sure how the taser fits in with this case, though. It doesn't seem to have been used.
Nope. The taser was definitely used.
How so? I didn't catch any sort of string protruding from it.
Not all taser guns release a string when fired. Some are completely wireless. For those types, you can tell they've been used if their blast doors are missing. Side note, blast doors are plastic panels which cover the muzzle of a taser. If a shot is fired, they pop clean off. When I was investigating the crime scene, I found the taser gun in one spot and its blast doors in another. Speaks for itself, yeah?
And here I was thinking the yellow bits were just random trash.
Where the heck did a taser gun even come from? Last time I checked, there weren't any lying around in the storage closets.
Maybe it belongs to someone here.
Huh?
Just think about it for 1 second. Everyone here has a dorm room which is themed around their talent. Mine's got DJ equipment. Jet's got car batteries.
Wow, car batteries? That's it?
That's what we have with our talents. What could someone with a dangerous talent have?
Are you talking about, like, knives and stuff?
No, guns. Idiot.
What? Is there something on my face?
Forget this. The person I'm talking about is Desmond.
Huh?
No way! You think the gun is Desmond's?
Yeah.
Hang on. You've got it all mixed up.
Jean, do you know anything about this? As Desmond's roommate, perhaps you spotted something inside his dorm.
Alas, we stayed in my abode. I couldn't tell you if he had weapons.
Talk about suspicious.
Did Desmond agree to bunk in Jean's dorm so Jean wouldn't see the weapons in his?
Listen, I get where you guys are coming from, but that taser gun, it's not mine. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, you just described it, so...
No. That's a lie.
A lie?
His attempt to feign innocence won't fool me. Not when I know the truth. No. Is it just his talent? Certainly not his charisma. And we don't know his blackmail, so...
A marksman is obviously going to have a taser.
That doesn't
Like
really
I
make
said,
sense.
I don't have any weapons.
Okay. Do I know his blackmail? I don't think I do.
The blackmail tools you gave us. That's my evidence.
You didn't get mine, did you?
No. But
Oh
the
my
person
gosh,
who
I
did
forgot.
Informed me of what it said.
It just seemed... With his weapons at hand, Desmond guards the only one he trusts.
The writing style seems to match. I think it's legit.
That's more than a little suspicious, don't you think? Leaving a bunch of weapons unguarded during a killing game?
Don't judge me. This is the first time I'm hearing of it too.
You didn't know there were weapons in your room?
Yep, no idea.
Our rooms aren't particularly subtle in their theming. Are we supposed to believe yours is any different?
I guess anybody could have gone in there.
It is themed. I'm not denying that. but I sure as hell didn't catch sight of any weapons.
Oh man, this is also bad for Diana, because if she overheard that conversation about Wolfgang's blackmail, then she also overheard Eva telling Damon about Desmond's blackmail, which would explain how she knew where to get the taser gun.
If I did, do you seriously think I'd leave them unguarded and risk being found out?
Yeah. Desmond cares too much about everyone. He pointed out the broken doorknobs and gave us the idea to bunk together. Why would he hide weapons in his room?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent and found the taser gun hidden inside. There's no other way to explain it.
So while Desmond gets a bunch of guns, all I get is an old game console and a deck controller.
Take the bad with the good, dearest pupil. No one fears game consoles. Well, no one besides parents and the religiously inclined.
Enough talking about consoles. Why are you guys believing Desmond so easily? If the taser gun belongs to him, then he's the killer. Any argument he makes against it is just a flimsy excuse.
I'm right here, you don't have to yell at me. Oh, well, here we go again. Toshiko's fetch quest.
Desmond is the killer.
Okay.
The taser gun came from his room.
What the hell is this
I
one?
had no idea the gun even
Oh,
existed.
well, that's very...
I was barely in my dorm to begin with.
Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
But...
If this is about avoiding suspicion, why did Desmond say the taser gun was fired?
Right?
I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
I was with Desmond.
I call
Oh,
it reverse
okay.
psychology.
Is that in this?
You sprinkle
Whoops.
in a little helpfulness, and suddenly everyone trusts you.
No. Where? Because I remember hearing about that now, but like, what? What has that in it? Okay, this is the... Okay, it's the blackout. Tells everybody's alibis.
When the murder happened,
Is Desmond innocent? When I compare evidence to everyone's statements.
Desmond is the killer.
I had no idea the gun even existed. I was barely in my dorm to begin with. Because you wanted to draw attention away from your weapons hoard.
Okay, nope, not yet.
About avoiding suspicion. Why did Desmond say the taser gun was fired? I don't think a killer would draw attention to their own murder weapon.
I
got it.
There we go. I did it. I used focus. Makes it much easier.
Regardless of whether or not Desmond knew about the gun, he definitely wasn't involved in the murder. Eloise can back me up on this.
right. Desmond and I, we were together in the courtyard at the time of Wolfgang's death.
I see. Then both of you can be ruled out as suspects.
Don't just take her word for it. She could be covering for Desmond.
Jeez, if you have a bone to pick with these guys, at least save it for when we're not solving a murder.
Yeah. Why don't you want to believe Eloise?
Ever since the investigation, these two yuppies have been on my case
Oh, right.
non-stop.
Personal
They're
grievances.
obviously working together.
Not gonna lie, I see where Grace is coming from.
Uh-huh.
When Eloise tried to single her out earlier, Desmond was pretty quick to jump in and agree.
I'm an influencer. I know all about, mobs with pitchforks.
Even so, since the topic has been brought up, I would like to mention something. During my trip to the pharmacy, I believe I saw Desmond and Eloise in the courtyard together.
You also said you were back in the hallways around 8-10 a.m., didn't you? That means those two were wandering around unsupervised. Either one of them could have left the courtyard.
If Desmond was the killer, what would Eloise gain from defending him?
Much better argument.
Should the wrong vote be cast, nothing about the rules suggests an accomplice of the killer would be exempt from execution.
That's right. And even if she was exempt, Eloise is too nice to be an accomplice to murder.
Grace, I realize Desmond's irked you, but that's no reason to keep steering everyone down a dead end. Let's move on.
He's a little guy in there.
A person who's always steering others down a dead end, huh? I guess they needed a GPS.
What?
Anyway, we should totally thank Desmond for clearing things up now. Not only do we know he's not the killer, now we know how the killer got their hands on the taser.
Do we know that? I mean...
now we know how... What?
Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent, and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Yup, that is word for word what Desmond said.
Right. Good memory.
We still don't know that for sure. But yeah, okay.
Can you repeat that quote, Cassidy?
Listen, there's a gun pun in there. I just realized.
But I just said it.
Yeah, but I want you to say it again.
All right. Someone must have gotten the idea to rifle through my dorm because of my talent and found the taser gun hidden inside.
Is there something on your mind?
If Desmond's testimony is anything to go by, then wouldn't this mean the culprit has to be male?
What?
If I remember correctly, all the guys were aware of each other's pairings. With that sort of knowledge, a male student could try and infiltrate another male student's dorm.
None of us knew which room we'd be bunking in.
It only takes a quick peek to check if someone's inside or not. Anyone could have done that.
A what?
And who's to say the thief didn't barge in before we started bunking?
Or while people were having breakfast.
Seems there was a mountain of opportunities for our culprit to sneak in unnoticed. Doesn't exactly help us narrow things down, does it?
Oh, she's trying, okay? She's just very, very wrong.
Well, guess this taser gun was a bust.
Look on the bright side. If it's been fired, then it's probably what electrocuted Wolfie.
Yay!
If trying to suss out who stole it isn't feasible, why don't we
get a little richer?
His other injuries instead.
How long have I been recording for? 42 minutes? Okay. Well.
You know, the ones that weren't burn marks? Those seem like they could lead us somewhere.
Yeah. Besides the burns on his hands, Wolfgang also had a bruise and a
I know this.
dot on the back of his neck.
I'm right about this.
A bruise and a tiny dot, huh? Want to try tackling them in alphabetical order?
Okay, we'll do it alphabetical order and next time. Woohoo! Perfect. Well, this is pretty fun. I really appreciate that the game is going out of its way to show that these amateur detectives are actually amateurs, and it's not just the usual Danganronpa trope thing where like half of them are just competent and the other half of them are entirely incompetent and never help at all. Like, it's nice that like some of the competent ones are still saying wrong things and some of the incompetent ones are still helping, you know? It's good. I don't know, maybe I'm just not seeing which ones are competent and which ones are incompetent yet. But I don't know. I mean, if you were to look at, like, from a macro scope, like, I don't think I would put Eloise or Desmond as particularly, like, high-tier investigators, you know? But they're doing a pretty good job in this case, so I like that. Whereas someone like Eva, or Ava, maybe? I don't know. Who did a good job in the investigation is making too many assumptions, right? It's good. I like. Anyway, I need a question of the day. So, oh, here's a good one. This is kind of just it's a two-pronged question, okay? Prong one, do you think they'll fix Hangman's Gambit in this game? I don't think it's even in here. But prong two, because that's not a question that has multiple answers. What's your favorite and least favorite Danganronpa minigame? Because obviously the minigames are supposed to be kind of the whole point of the class trials, you know? So it's not just like Ace Attorney where you just present evidence and read dialogue. But, you know, I like that too. I think sometimes the minigames feel completely superfluous. Like a lot of the minigames in V3, I don't even know why they're there, you know? They just feel like they're there because they have to be there. I feel like in Danganronpa 1 and 2, because they're mostly all the same, they're mostly good. Obviously, Hangman's Gambit is a big exclusion. But even that one, it feels like it has, like, a purpose. You know what I mean? Like, it's for evidence that you want to present that doesn't actually, you know, you don't just want to do, like, a pick thing. You want it to be, like, a big deal, trying to figure it out, because it's kind of obscure, so it'd be hard to ramp into it. Whereas something like Mind Mine is supposed to do the same thing, except I don't know why. It just feels a lot less satisfying. You know what I mean? I guess because they're just pictures. You're not actually figuring anything out. You're just kind of like breaking blocks until eventually the right answer presents itself. You know? Whereas at least with Hangman's Gambit, as much as it sucks to play, theoretically, it's a good idea because you actually still have to know what word you're trying to construct beforehand, right? So yeah, I think Mind Mine is my least favorite. Even though Hangman's Gambit is worse. And probably my favorite is, it's kind of overplayed maybe, but the Rebuttal Showdown, I think, was the best addition they ever made to the trial sections. I mean, I could be really boring and say nonstop debate because I genuinely really like that format. But I think Rebuttal Showdown is the coolest because it's like nonstop debate, except you're fighting with one person. You know, it just feels more personal, and you get the cool music and the cool interruption sprite and all that. I like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye bye.